Hello.
Yo,
Hey, how's it going?
sheesh, seen better days. Got a lot on my mind lately. These more sets have not been going my way. I'm sending the files to you right now
Okay.
on Discord.
There's
Uh,
also a YouTube video of it.
oh, is it?
Yeah, they uploaded. Oh, you're talking about the TMT set or a different one?
Different one.
Oh, okay. Cool. Then we can just do that.
This is the most recent one. This was like 3 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I watched the TMT set already then. So now I'll have a bit of a reference.
Yeah.
You
It's
guys
really
can hear
good.
Bobby all right, right?
Haha, yes, 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 yes.
Chat? Yes? Okay, sick. Okay. So, let's see. I will screen share you.
Alright, cool.
Okay, I have some thoughts from already watching your other set with him, but I'll see if similar issues come up or not.
Word. For for Marth, for me, before we get
Mm-hmm.
into it, I used to play a lot with Zane, and it was like probably my best matchup, either like that or Jigglypuff. But I pretty much haven't played it at all until like a week or two ago, for like 4 or 5 months. So
Mm-hmm.
it feels like I pretty much just like not forgot everything I learned, but feels like I used to be really good at it, and it feels like I'm not as good at it now. So, but it's like I know I should be better at it. But the last like week or so, I've been playing a lot of Marth and just like relearning like a lot of spacing things, like not lasering like right in front of their shield, so I get grabbed, like just a bunch of tiny things.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently the last 6 sets versus LSD I've lost. So and I was 3-0 lifetime versus Rishi online, and then I lost the last 3 out of 4 sets to him that we played. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much the only backstory.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything else I need to tell you.
Yeah,
But
I feel
yeah,
like a lot of times when I don't play a matchup for a while, I like remember some things that are very important, but then I don't remember smaller things that are sort of stemming off from those things, and then I end up playing oversimplified or greedy in some way.
yeah. Oh, and another thing, I think I said that to say, because with Marth, I feel like I feel like I can't think while I'm playing. I feel like it's too fast, so I have to like try to like actively not think and just let my what I already know do it. Whereas like versus Puff, like all I do is like think and like react to like neutral stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
versus Mars, it's like not the same. I think that's why I'm really good versus Puff, because it's like
Mm-hmm.
it feels more in my control. But like right now versus Marth, and even when I was like good versus Marth, it doesn't feel like it's stuff is in my control. The only thing that feels in my control is like how often I decide to go in and like when I decide to risk my life for an opening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like with Puff, she has a lot of trouble just approaching in general, and so there's like a lot of opportunities for you to like react to the different ranges she's at, and like
Yeah,
you can basically just keep yourself safe, and then
yeah,
Puff will choose a range, and then you get to react out of that. But then with Marth, I feel like you it's I feel like it's more about knowing when you have the ability to play like that, and sort of like, because basically there's a lot of situations where like Marth can't really threaten you, so it's kind of similar to playing against a Puff or something like that. But then like those situations can very quickly change into situations where you basically just lose the stock, and so I think it's like a lot harder to determine when you can sort of play smart versus Marth and not. But
yeah.
all right, let's go over this and see what we can come up with. So one thing that I noticed in the last set and this one too is I feel like a lot of times or so far in this one, it seems like a lot of times you're sort of trying to catch Marth out of like you're sort of like, well, if I go in at like kind of a weird timing, then like there's a chance that like the Marth will not be ready and I'll just sort of get a hit, rather than knowing what specifically you're trying to get a hit on. Like, oh, I'm going to hit Marth out of his dash back. Oh, I'm going to hit Marth out of his empty short hop or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
so stuff like this is like, it's like, yeah, like you might have kind of gotten away with it and stuff like that, but it's not really. It's sort of like just wasted inputs, and then you eventually get hit out of it. Where I think that, like, as you know, against Marth, basically, like, if you make any errors, basically, you can potentially just die for it.
Yeah.
And so I think, like, it's more about not doing something stupid than it is about doing things that are super smart, at least in terms of, like, establishing the game, where, like, you don't know exactly like what decisions someone's going to make on like an opener, and you haven't really like gotten the flow of the game down yet. So I think it's okay to make more like sort of standard safe decisions in a lot of cases.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, he goes for this, which is really a really jank opening that doesn't really make sense to me. And then so you end up here, and I think that one thing that I noticed that you don't do enough that you could do is specifically against Marth, like the dash back, dash in mix-up. Because basically if you just go in on Marth, you're not basically you're not giving Marth an opportunity to lose the situation on his own. Like, so you're basically saying like, okay, so like right here, you're like, okay, so I'm coming in with the Nair, and basically like if Marth doesn't have his counterplay ready, then he'll get hit. But you're not giving him an opportunity to do something dumb before that happens.
What would that look like? What would something dumb look like?
So, like, for example, like right here or something, like, let's say he does like a Nair out of shield or something like that, like just sort of basic greedy Nair out of shield. You're not, like, you would probably get hit by that here. And so if you do a dash back before you dash in and you play really reactively out of that dash back, you give, especially worse Marths, you give them a chance to do like a desperate fair or a desperate Nair or a shield grab or something like that. Yeah. And so a lot of times you won't have to actually like force a neutral win, because you can just sort of let them give you the neutral win.
Yeah.
So like one thing I noticed is that when basically the worse the Marth is that Mango is playing against, the more he does extended dash dances. Whereas like against Zane, a lot of times he goes in pretty quickly because he knows that Zane is usually almost exclusively going to do like safe defensive patterns and not go for too many defensive reversals like nairing out of shield and stuff like that. So Mango's a bunch more aggressive versus Zane, but I watched some VODs of him against some Marths like Star and others and stuff like that. And what he'll do is he does this standard dash back mix up. So basically the mix up that he does is he goes dash back, dash in, and then he comes in with an aerial. And if the Marth does like a quick nair or something like that, the dash back will bait it, and then the dash in aerial hits it. And then a lot of times what he'll do is he'll wait until the Marth... Okay, this is something I'll get to later, but he usually waits until the Marth lands to do that mix-up, because that way the Marth is guaranteed not to be jumping and doing an aerial if the Marth has just landed.
Yeah.
So a lot of times he'll do like the mix-up between dash back, dash in, and like approaching laser, dash back, dash in, approaching aerial, and dash back, laser in place. And I think that the combination of those creates a lot of opportunities for the Marth to create his own openings, because that's kind of like a lot of times what the Marths are waiting for against Falco, is they're basically trying to avoid getting hard punished, and they're waiting for Falco to put himself into a situation where they get a free win. Yeah, but you 100%. Can actually do something really similar as Falco. So I think that was this Nair was okay, but this one is really bad and it doesn't make any sense. And yeah, like
that was me hoping that he tried to punish my other Nair. And it was like
definitely, yeah,
complete read.
But the problem with that in this matchup is that, like, out of, like, it's very, in certain matchups, things like this are okay because the characters have to put in a lot of effort. Like, you know, maybe Fox or something might struggle a bit more to punish something like this, but Marth can very quickly turn situations like this into your stock being lost. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's not worth it to go for stuff like this when there are options you could be doing that, like, can, like, try to bait him. Like, I think that rather than trying to read him doing things, just basically trying to bait him to do things and then reacting to those is, like, more effective.
Yeah, sounds like a more consistent way to go about it.
Because here again is like okay, so look, so he jumps up here, and then that nair's fine because if he comes down, it hits him. I don't necessarily love it, but that's just kind of
Yeah.
preference. So you get this laser here, and you confirm that the laser is on his shield. So his only options once you hit him and he's in shield are wave dash in, which he's basically not going to do, and wave dash out, or he can jump and do an aerial. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And so, like, basically your options here are, if he's going to wave dash away, you want to approaching laser, and then if he's going to do an aerial in place here, then you want to avoid it. And so a lot of times what I think is the best option to do here is to do the dash back, and then basically when you do the dash back, you can either react to him either jumping and doing an aerial or moving away. And if he wave dashes away, he can't punish you doing dash away, dash in, approaching laser, and so you get basically a reset on the neutral situation for a wrong guess. And if you guess right that he's going to do this approaching aerial, then you get a hit on him. So, like, right here, if you had done a dash back right here, then it basically gives you either an advantage or it continues to be even. Whereas if you go for this and he does one of his two options, and a lot of times Marths will go for the aerial because the aerial, especially the nair in this type of situation, will basically lead them to a kill. And if they wave dash back, they know that they're just going to be trapped in laser here. And so a lot of times they will go for this despite it being desperate. And so you would have gotten an easy punish if you had done the dash back here. And basically Mango does almost exclusively that dash back mix up against Marth.
That's a crazy way to look at it. I've never thought about Marth shielding like in that kind of mix-up way.
And then, okay, so let's see. Okay, I really like that shield on his nair. So this is another situation where, like, if he just happens to nair here, you lose your stock.
Yeah.
And there's just and if you hit him, you get, like, a random back air. And so it's like stuff like this, like, it kind of makes sense if you're in, like, a fight with somebody to kind of go for stuff like this, but Marth doesn't really work with Marth. Like, he doesn't really get into, like, fight type situations. Like, he either, like, if he's actually in a fight, he just loses. And then if you kind of guess wrong and he just sort of avoids it, a lot of times like, if he had hit this fair, you just die. You lose your whole stock. And it's a situation where you can, let's see. It's like, so right here, I guess it's because you shielded here, so you didn't really have a lot, but I still think that if you're in this type of situation, probably wave dashing out or just lasering is better than the back air, because basically if you laser here, the only option he has to beat it realistically is to, like, do a super approaching aerial. And if you just kind of held shield there, he would get punished for that. So, like, you have to keep in mind a lot of times that, like, the Marths are trying to, like, super minimize risk from you, because once again, their whole goal is to let you win the game for them. Like, they don't want to have to try to actually do mix-ups or, like, risk themselves. And a lot of times they're not as comfortable in sort of, like, the up-close fighting situations as Falco is, even if, you know, like, obviously Marth is worse at those than Falco, but also, like, because Marth is worse at those, a lot of times Marth mains will, like, avoid getting good at that part of the game. Like, Zane is pretty good at it, but he's definitely the exception.
Yeah.
And so, like, until a Marth has proven otherwise, you have to assume that they are trying to get you to whiff something dumb.
I mean, that sounds like all the Marths I play.
Okay, so, like, there's this F smash, and, like, basically F smashes like this will happen. Oop. Oh, Slippy, come on. One sec. I don't know why my Slippy is buggy. It was fine for a while, and then one of the newer versions, it started doing this, and it just stayed like that, so... Okay, I think we're almost at the point here where he gets this F smash. And it's like, so you can't really avoid F smashes like this. And so I almost think there's not really like a point in avoiding them. It's basically like if he's doing these F smashes enough that they make a big difference to the match in his favor, then it's something I think you can adapt to. And but if he's not, and it's just sort of things like this, I think that like there's more often that this F smash will work out against him than it will work out for him. And so I think it's almost like negligible. And yeah, you get back for free from that. Okay, so here's a situation where it's maybe not ideal to talk about this, but so yeah, okay, let's not talk about it there. Okay, so there's this. So this is a situation I've seen you do a bunch of times, and I don't think this is a bad mix-up. And you do this kind of dare off the platform sometimes when Marth is on the ground too. And it's not that it's necessarily like a bad mix-up, but I think that like these dares only work at high level, basically. Like these dares only work once Marth has already accepted that you're playing neutral correctly in all these other situations. And if you're not, there's like I feel like the Marth can basically, like, they don't need, like, if you haven't forced the Marth to play honest already, then these dares, like, don't necessarily hit the Marth, because, like, they're not being forced to play the mix-up game. They're trying to play the stay out of Falco's range and hope he does something dumb game. And so a lot of times those aerials just don't really lead to a lot. So here's another situation where I think you should have done the dash back before going in. So you land this laser right here, and so this is something that I noticed a lot in Mango games, is that basically, like, unless he lands this laser in a situation where, like, he can basically get, like, a frame-perfect nair out or something like that, and he's, like, super confident about it, where it's, like, let's say Marth, like, literally whiffs a fair, and then Mango can, like, set up, like, a laser into, like, an instant nair, like, for sure, guaranteed every time, then he will go for it. But a lot of times, if you laser Marth out of the air here, he's just going to be mashing fair to C-stick attack you. And so the mix-up is, so most characters, the mix-up is you laser them right before they land, and then they have this awkward space where they can't really start any aerials or do much, and they're also still, like, caught laser stun and stuff like that. And so it's, like, a lot of times a really good idea to approach here, but specifically against Marth, because he has, like, the fair counterplay when he's, like, he can do it, I think, when he's even lower to the ground than this, like, he can get the fair out. And so a lot of times, if you laser Marth in a situation like this, the goal should be avoid the potential fair with a dash back, and then deal with Marth on landing. So this is something I noticed in a lot of Mango VODs, and it just sort of makes sense based on his options, is that, like, Marth is the most dangerous when he is already in the air, because then his nairs and fairs and stuff and dares and stuff like that are really dangerous. But he doesn't have very good rising aerials, and like nair is the only one, and nair is pretty slow. Like, he can't really do like a rising, like, if he lands right here, it's not like he's gonna short hop rising fair, because if you dodge it, then he's just dead. So a lot of times in this situation they will try to attack, and I think the best option is you dash away to avoid the fair, and then you do the dash back laser mix-up, where basically, like, if he lands out of this, his options are he can shield because you're going to laser dash back dash in aerial, or he can land and he can dash back, or he can land and he can go for a psycho attack, but, like, let's kind of ignore those, because you can beat that by just, like, shielding on reaction a lot of times, or you'll just beat it by naturally dash dancing. So I think, like, if you laser here and then you dash back to avoid the fair, I don't know if he actually does do the fair here. Okay, so he goes for the nair, which is really weird, but most of the time Marth would fair here, as you know from playing Zane, and you would just get hit by that. So it's like a lot of times by dashing back, and then if he does the fair here, you get like a pure mix-up, I don't think there's anything you can really do to react to this. You basically either do dash back, dash in aerial, or dash back, full dash in laser. And if he shields, a lot of times the laser will hit his shield, or the aerial hits his shield, or he dashes back and the laser hits his shield. He only wins when he does a perfect dash back and he doesn't, and you do like an aerial exactly where he wants you to, and then he might get a punish, but you win a lot more often than not in that situation.
Yeah.
So I think it's like really important to basically get Marth to land, and the laser is really useful because it stops his air momentum. So you know very clearly like how far forward he can drift after the laser, and so you can fully make yourself safe from his falling aerial, and then basically instantly come in with a mix-up that's like strong for you. Okay, so in this is a situation where like, okay, what is Marth probably going to do here? He basically has his options in this situation are he can dash dance, which he knows probably won't work out for him because you can like laser and then he has to like shield it or something, or try to power shield. Or he can up tilt if he thinks you're gonna approaching aerial, or he can, a lot of times what they do almost every time, I noticed a lot of worse Marth will short hop, they'll dash short hop nair out of the corner because they're trying to take center, and if you fall for this they get hit. So I think basically your goal from this range should be to shoot a laser onto him such that if he does this approaching nair, you don't get hit by it, but that you can gain space closer to him and get the laser out. Yeah. So by going for like this down air, so you go for wave dash down, and that basically baits the up tilt here, but it would lose to the dash nair. And so basically this is like a situation where, so he does the nair in place, and you happen to get a trade here, but there's not, like, you basically didn't use the laser to get to a perfect spacing. Yeah. And you got the wave dash down, which basically accomplished it, but then, like, I would say that even after you get to this range, like with the wave dash down, right here, I still think this should be a dash back most of the time. Like, basically, once you already have a read on the Marth, I'm not telling you not to dash in attack. Like, dash in attack is fine. But until you do, and especially, like, game one of a set or something, especially against a Marth like LSD, who you know is going to go for, like, a lot of sort of greedy openers, I think the dash back here to see what he's going to do is really useful. And so that's just generally, like a good rule of thumb, I think.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like, that was good. And I think a lot of the things you do in the matchup are, like, super spot on. And I'm, like, kind of like, oh, that was really good. So it's a lot of times it's usually just the kind of approaching neutral situations.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was sort of a rough spot. You were just sort of in the corner. Wait, where did this stock go? Sometimes this just happens.
I'm pretty sure I missed a ledge. I'm pretty sure I tried to, like, grab ledge or something, and I just fell past it.
Yeah, so you get shield poke dared. You end up in the corner. Then he reads the full hop, but it catches you anyway. And then you get... That happens. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's just kind of unfortunate. I think that just kind of happens sometimes. Yeah, I'm not really sure what you could have done to 100% avoid that. So, yeah, this is really good. You kind of get in on him, but you mess up, so he gets the forward smash there.
I jumped over him there. I shouldn't have jumped over him.
So this is this is a situation where, like, he is clearly kind of just trying to swing and hit you. Like, this, but this doesn't have any intention behind it, and I think that's why it's very frustrating to lose to. Because, like, this fair doesn't have intention of, like, aha, I think Bobby will do this, so therefore I will come in with this fair. It was literally just like I'm going to dash dance and then drop a fair here and then hope that he kind of runs into it. And so this is why I kind of mentioned that I didn't really like that nair from earlier, because you're trying to catch him coming down from the platform, and this is a situation where if you just happen to guess wrong, Marth can get, like, a free opening like this. And so the correct answer most of the time is to, like, basically it's the same thing I was talking about before with, like, the laser when he's kind of at this height, is that, like, what you do is you wait for Marth to land, and then you basically try to force a mix-up right when his landing happens, because he doesn't have many options at that point.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's the main thing I've taken so far is like when he lands, what happens like right after that, and like what the
Whereas,
dash
like,
options are.
there's a lot of characters, like Peach, like Fox, and stuff like that, where, like, you kind of want to catch them right before they land. But with
Yeah.
Marth, it's the exact opposite, where you want to catch him right after he lands. And if you try to get him right before he lands, a lot of times you just get hit. Because he has really, really, really good landing options.
Yeah.
So then you get hit out of this. So you get that bait, which is good. So I like this dash dance because you're kind of waiting for him to do something, and then he acknowledges that, like, okay, he's waiting for me to do something stupid, and then he doesn't do that. So that's good. He goes back up to the platform. He is literally just hoping that you try to approach him so that he can drop and get another fair.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get... So look, so this is actually really good. You get this laser right as he lands. This laser right as he lands, and it puts him in kind of like this awkward spot where now you can get this laser out again really soon. Like, he didn't have a chance to basically really do much, or even, like, necessarily, like, dash power shield there, because you got him, like, just as he landed.
Yeah.
So then, okay, so I don't think this makes much sense, because you got, like, a really good position here in neutral, and, like, this is basically all you can really ask for. And so at this point, you're, like... Your options are basically, do I think the Marth is scared enough of me to run away? Or you let him in the shield again, and is he going to try to do, like, a nair out of shield? Or is he going to go for the suicidal psycho wave dashing approach? But because you do this, like, there's no world in which this realistically gives you, like, a big advantage.
Yeah.
And... yeah, like, you're pretty safe, and you end up not getting hit by this, and, like, it ends up with you winning the situation, but, like, there is no safety as Falco, as you know, like,
Yeah.
if, like...
I'm pretty sure that's why I went to the platform, because I felt like too much neutral had passed, and I felt like something was about to happen, and I didn't know what, but I felt scared. And whenever I go to the platform, it's actually something I'm trying to cut out of my game, because I realized it's only versus Marth, really. I go to that platform and then I drop through with the laser, because I'm just, like, scared of, like, dying, which, like, shouldn't be the way that I go about it.
Right, because, yeah, Falco can die anytime, and so, like, being on the platforms and not... like, basically the situation where you're in, where you had the laser at the perfect range to do, like, the dash back, dash in, either dare or laser, or laser in place mix-up, is, like, that's the best you're gonna get, So you might as well fight it out, even if it feels dangerous, because it's always dangerous, and at least in that case you had before, at least you have big threats on Marth, and Marth, like, is very aware that is the mix-up, and he, like, once you land those lasers... there is nothing in Marth's head that is like, Falco's not going to approach me right now. Like, he is determined pretty much that you're going to go for that mix-up, because there's no reason for you not to. Yeah. So you basically got a small advantage in neutral and then gave it up. So just something to avoid in general. So you get this, which is really... this is like a perfect range for you. But obviously, this is like a really bad grab. I actually have seen you do this grab in this exact spot against multiple people in multiple sets. And I'm not sure why.
Marth?
Huh?
In multiple matchups or just versus Marth?
Just versus Marth.
Okay.
But it's literally this exact spot underneath the left platform right here. It's funny that this came up again. This exact grab happens in your last set with LSD and another set of yours I watched. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't even like grabbing that much in this matchup, so it's weird.
And it's specifically, like, right here in center. And so what you do... so you get... let's see what happens. So you get this. Okay, this. You go up to here. So you get this laser. So obviously right here the answer is dash back and then dash in with the mix-up. Or it's kind of at a weird range. See, I think this is, like, kind of a range where, like, a lot of times Marth will try to dash back pretty often if you do just a straight approaching laser. So I think that might be good there, but the dash back is safer because he might do, like, a stupid nair here. So you go for the grab. He does go for the dash back. And the reason he goes for this dash back is he thinks you're gonna approaching aerial because it's like this range, and as like a Marth, I've experienced this range a lot where like Falco lasers you, and it's like at a range where like if he does the dash down air, the dash down air will like barely hit, and it's pretty tempting for the Falco to go for it because it's like he wants a laser a little bit closer than that, but he kind of gets a laser and the dare will still hit, and it's very tempting for the Falco to go for an approaching aerial there, especially at like lower level, and the Marths know that, and so they'll almost always dash back out of that situation. And so approaching laser, like if you get a laser and Marth is just barely at the end of the range of your dare, a lot of times the approaching laser will work really well in the dash back. Oh, here you go. This is really good. So here's an example of instead of catching him and trying to catch him out of this with maybe like a nair or something like that, you wait until just after he lands, and then he's in this really awkward spot where now if he's like this, and you basically, if you hadn't happened to shine there, you have like a really big, super big advantage, and you get the advantage anyway. I think this is a really good laser.
Yeah.
And then you get your combo.
Can you go back?
Yeah.
I remember I only did go back one more time.
Yeah.
I only didn't right here. I think it was right here. Or he jumps in the same situation, I think a couple seconds later. And it's right here. Yeah. I only didn't like try to fight him because it's so obvious that okay, he's already in the air, so I know he's gonna come down with like a big forward air. So like I cannot get hit by this.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, can't punish him out of the air already. So I can try to punish him when he lands. But when he's already shielding, and it's like the same like theory or like same situation, like kinda, where it's like okay, or like if he's about to land. I feel like I have the option of like if I read him with like a good aerial, like I can catch him jumping at a shield or something, which is like something that I feel like I'm pretty good at.
Mm-hmm.
Although it just like I'm definitely good at that, but it's just not that like great of a thing because you're like counting on them jumping at like a very very specific time. So if they just hold shields for like a little longer, you die. But yeah, I only did this because it was so obvious that he was gonna come down with something.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if I can apply this to when he's like closer to the ground and it's not as obvious, then I could start doing a lot better.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah, so because here you avoided it, you get this, then you get your pressure, and it leads to what could have been a lot, but slightly mess up. So this is definitely a matter of preference, but I think that in certain situations, oops, I went back not far enough. I think in certain situations, like up air is actually really good against Marth here, because when he has to come straight down, sort of in center, then I think you have a lot more ability to get behind him in the air where he's really weak. Whereas if you do this back air, then he basically is falling straight down to the edge here without a lot of threat from you, and he's able to just like kind of fare on his way down.
Yeah.
Whereas if you
I feel pretty confident in my ability to like when Marth is in this situation. Not really that one. I was kind of pretty fortunate, but like I've been working on lately like not extending combos in certain situations. Like if I know I can't get them off the stage or like right by the ledge, then I'll keep extending the combo. But if I can get him off the ledge, I feel really confident in my edge guards versus him. So I've been trying to just get him off more and edge guard him more. And right there, it ended up working out really well. But I see what you're saying about the up air. It's not really something I think about at all.
Yeah, for that one, it's more of just like a random mention. I don't think it's necessarily like super right or wrong either way.
Word.
Okay, I think that was fine to get out of the corner. You kind of forced to do a mix up there. This is, I don't know, this is a situation that comes up a lot as both spacies, where basically, like, anytime you get Marth in this situation, you just have to assume that they're gonna try to fare here, like, as fast as they possibly can. So, like, you're better off just either shielding or CCing here, pretty much every
I could
time.
have grabbed. I should have realized what was happening and grabbed him instead. The jabs were just like I know this will hit, but it's like I had no plan after.
So here's another situation where he ends up in this shielding spot, and Mango goes for this forward smash a lot too, and I think it's like sometimes okay, but basically like unless you've established certain mix-ups in the corner, I don't think it's that good. Like I think this is something that might work, game 4 of a set or something. If you like have kind of established certain mix-ups in the corner where like you always sort of approach in a certain way in the corner, then like if you're always dash back, dash inning, and then Marth starts reacting to that, then maybe the forward smash can work. But he just literally goes for like super like top level greed right here where he just shields and then he just nairs out a shield. And if you do with a dash back here, that's like an easy punish. So I'll probably start going through the game a bit quicker now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I like that. Nice.
Worked out. Damn, that's really unfortunate.
I think in this situation, you're probably better off just staying on the top platform. Because
I feel like I saw him jumping up and I was like, all right, time to get on this platform. I really don't know why they're like how I got hit here. I don't know how I wasn't either crouching or shielding.
Yeah.
Would have been good.
Well, I think it's like even if he might not have necessarily hit you, like he kind of hits you in like a weird way where you're like shield dropping here or something like that.
Yeah.
But like the nice thing about this spot here is that like basically he's not close enough on the ground because Marth's aerials have a ton of ending lag, and the only way that he can actually deal with that is to land quickly after using them. And so like if he is going to get you up here, he has to like jump above you and then aerial so that he lands as he's falling.
No.
Whereas like in these situations, like if he catches you out of this transition right here with like a fair, then he can very quickly either land on this platform or like fast fall fair and land on the ground, and then he like it kind of like mitigates how slow his aerials are. Like that's a fast aerial because Marth landed right after using it. Whereas if you're up here, he has very few options to actually do anything to you. So I think it was good to come up here, but then maybe not a great idea to transition to the side platform because it literally just gives him this. Like whereas like if he like even if he hits you on this top platform, like there's not a lot he can actually get outside of like a grab on the top platform. Whereas like once he has you on the side platform, he gets like this stuff where he would not be, even if he hit you with a fair on the top platform, there's no world that he can like up tilt you anywhere.
No. That was really lucky side B.
Yeah, here's that dare again.
Yeah.
And like the dare is fine once you know the Marth is like in center and he's trying to work with you on like if Marth is here and he's trying to prevent you from drop lasering, then this down air works. But if the Marth is like playing the super safe game over here, it's just like this is basically not going to work because if Marth is going to take center here, he's going to be taking center with a fair or an up air, both of which will beat this. And if he's not taking center, he's just going to be dropping with like a fair here, and you're not going to get an advantage. So it puts you at a risk in a situation where you're almost never going to get like a real advantage, because even if this down air hit, he would just normal land. You know, like if he's in the air and this hits him, he just normal lands. So it just doesn't really accomplish a lot, and it can potentially just like lose you games and lose you sets and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, and then he does that. I don't know how that tipper missed. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So let's go to the next game.
Yeah, but whenever I'm on the side platform like that and I dare off, it's definitely like desperate. I definitely feel like I need this opening right now, especially at like the end of the game like that. So something like where Zane like doesn't really do stuff like that. Like he sticks to his game plan, regardless if he gets like super nervous or like whatever. Like,
yeah,
I guess desperate.
Well, because like it's like important to know, or to like not know, but like to convince your subconscious basically that like if I'm desperate, my highest chance of winning is to do the things I've worked on in the matchup.
Yeah, that'd be a way better frame of mind to go about it.
So he does this. I hate this opening by him. He does that twice. Okay, so here's an opportunity where like, so you land this laser right here, right after he lands, which is perfect because then he can't really do anything, and you're close enough that like if you're the Marth here, you're thinking the dare or the nair is coming immediately. And so your options here are hope your shield comes out in time or dash back. And so a lot of times in this situation, the approaching laser is really good because it'll beat both the shield and the dash back. Marth has basically no options besides shield or dash back here.
Yeah.
So by going for, I think you probably just messed this up.
Yeah.
So but you're going for the short hob nair, and I'm not sure, it might have actually still hit him because you were close enough, but the laser a lot of times is really good here, and especially because he has so much space on the stage to get away from. I just don't really see that many approaching lasers in these situations from you, where I see them almost every time in that specific situation from Mango, because it covers basically Marth's two primary options. Because, like I said, like if you laser Marth like this, his only options, if you like, let's say you were further away, his only options are the ones I just mentioned of dash back and shield, or to do like the nair in place or the fair in place. But you're too close for that, so it limits him strictly to like his defensive options. I guess another thing he could do is he could try to like roll, but we know that's not very good.
Yeah.
Okay, good punish on his bad fair. I think you just messed up here.
Yeah, I did.
Because you got like, this is like obviously the laser where like this is like an easy punish, and then okay, so you miss it. That's fine. Okay, I think I'm fine with that nair, because let's see what happened here. The nair felt fine, so
I read his dash back, but I think I did like an instant like aerial instead of like dashing.
Okay,
like,
so you're reading him wave dashing in, you dodge the fair, then you do this, and you read the dash back, and you get him, and that's why it was good. Okay. This is something you have to be really careful for, or really careful of, which is giving Marth this, especially because LSD has shown multiple times that like the way he gets out of the corner a lot of times is he tries to go to the platform. Yeah. And so by doing this, it's like if he happens to stay here, yeah, you have even better pressure than before, but it's not necessarily better pressure than you have right here. Like, because right here you can still unreactably attack him in the corner and like laser pressure him in the corner. So by doing this, it's basically just an opportunity for him to get away from you, and then it puts you in a really bad spot in the corner. Okay, so you work your way out. He does this. You bait out the up tilt, which is really good, and you get the kill. Notice that was like one of the options I mentioned before of like, yeah, these are like one of the options that Marth has here, and basically like the goal is to just bait that out. Yeah. Okay, so you got that. You get away. That was good. Okay, you force your way in there. Maybe this is not the best thing, but sometimes it's what you have to do. So, okay, crazy combo. So here's this is a situation where like it's a situation just like right here where like this is a laser. Like you got a laser right here because like
in place or
I think you have a bunch of options depending on how much or little risk you want to take. But basically, like, what does Marth have here? Like, to actually hurt you, he can wave dash up forward smash. That's it. Or he can dash attack, I guess, but dash attack is like a joke. So, like, that's it. If you're standing here, all he could do is wave dash up psycho forward smash, and, like, your laser will come out before that most of the time anyway. Yeah. And the laser will give you significantly more control over neutral most of the time. Whereas, like, going for this, like, if he had just fared right here instead of moving forward right here, you just get hit here. Oh. And if you had done the laser here, you would have caught him with the laser right here, which stops his drift, and then basically makes his maximum fair range right here, and you can get another laser on his landing. And then do your mix-up out of that. Like, a lot of times, it's like, the goal is to sort of just set up the same situation where Falco has, like, an advantageous mix-up over and over and over and over, and then just capitalize on that.
Yeah,
So
I'm starting to piece that together.
So you get the laser on his shield, and then you correctly do the dash back here to avoid his greedy nair out of shield, and he rolls away, so you get to react to that. This probably should have been a laser. I'm not really sure what happened here. But so you do this. You're still in a good spot because he's in the corner. He shields again. So I like this dash back here to potentially get him to do the nair. But I think that once he's already shielding, obviously I'm not expecting you to react to this perfectly every time, but if he's already shielding like this, I think doing the dash in first is better here, because even if he does his fastest option out of shield, it won't hit your dash in. So you can dash in to potentially bait him out to try to roll out of the corner, or do the nair out of the corner thinking you're going to dash in aerial here. So it's just basically like, if you think about it, there's nothing Marth can do to actually get out of corner here without taking a risk. Like, he can't just wave dash out of corner and be safe, and he can't just roll out of corner to be safe. So it's like, it's kind of like, okay, it's fine. Like, you can kind of like calm down and then be like, okay, I'm going to try to bait Marth to do a defensive option out of corner. You don't immediately have to try to hit him in the corner.
Yeah, which I think is what I tried to do.
Yeah, so you go in for this, and so like if you had sort of been a little bit more patient, he could have full hopped here, and then you have kind of like this situation which maybe isn't fantastic for you, but like he can kind of be coming down for the platform, and you can kind of like, you know, catch him landing with like a jump shine or a back air or something like that. So you get this situation again where like there was like basically he was stuck in the corner, and he has to like figure out a way out, and you can like hold him there for a while, and he kind of doesn't really have a way to deal with it. And so basically you have like multiple chances to bait him out, and you have multiple chances to approach, and he has to like sort of deal with all those possibilities. But by doing this and like committing early, he only needed to make one correct guess. Whereas like if you're dash dancing and then like lasering and like kind of pressuring more passively in the corner for a second, he has to guess right more often, because he has to guess, okay, he's not coming in now, he's not coming in now, he's not coming in now. And then he has to make that guess correctly every time. And if he thinks you're going to come in and he does a move, you get a free opening without even having to read him.
Yeah.
So it's a situation where you can kind of like get more out of it than you're taking, in terms of like baits.
Yeah, I don't really play like that at all. So that's useful to hear.
So yeah, look, you have him here again, and except instead of going for the high commitment pressure, you go for this, and then you wait it out, and so he goes for this grab because he thought you were just gonna dumb approach. So he goes for this greedy grab, and then you get this laser which continues the pressure in the corner. And he kind of panics and rolls out, and so you get like a free opening. And it's like, you didn't have to even win neutral here. You literally just pressured, and then he gave you a free opening, which is like basically like what he's doing to you. And so it's like, there's no reason for you not to do that to Marth when you have him pressed into the corner like that.
Yeah, I just never really thought about like how to do it, or like, I don't know, never really made sense to me. I feel like I have an advantage, I have to like press it, but I never thought about like pressing it in a different kind of way, like you just described.
Okay, you get this. Yeah, I think this just kind of happens sometime. Like, I do think that out of this situation, this is another situation where like you can kind of make a read based on the fact that like, look what he's doing before this. Up air, and then he goes for up air up tilt. So you catch him out of this, and he comes down fair, up tilt, and then he goes for grab, and you can tell he's kind of like feeling really swingy right now. Yeah. So like after this, when he gets this neutral reset, this is the perfect time to do the dash back mix up. Yeah. Because he's clearly like in a swingy mode. So then he goes for this, and then so you get, look at him, he's just going crazy. Christ. He's just literally spamming moves. So like, okay, so this is good. You So, okay, so this is a situation where I think you did it right, and it's just sort of to keep in mind the other stuff I was mentioning, where, like, he seems really swingy right now, you know? He doesn't feel very patient, and so I like that you do this dash dance before coming in, but maybe, so, like, this is fine. This is a perfectly acceptable mix-up, and I think it's good, and you win for it, or you win the situation for it, so it's good. But sometimes in the corner, especially when he's feeling swingy, I think you can, like, laser him a bit more and try to make him a little bit more nervous right here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
So you catch him out of that. That's really good.
The same situation from last game. I'd stay on the platform.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm starting to see like all the situations where I can like trap him like when he's in shield and he's either gonna probably aerial at his shield or like either way back forward, which he probably won't do, stuff like that. They're like popping up on my mental radar.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can skip this far ahead. Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah, so you stay up here. He doesn't really have a lot he can do, and you make it out safely, and you can get a reversal off of it. Okay, so you get that, you get that. Okay, that was good. That was good, too. Notice that you catch him immediately as he lands here. Oh. The schmovement. Okay. So, right here, you catch him out of the laser. So you catch him with the laser. Then, like, if you were immediately going in right there, then it might be a bad spot. But because you let him land after this laser, and you dash back here, then you get this, like, look at, he just landed. He has no options here. Literally nothing he has will work here. So this was really good. He gets the shield, which is crazy. But you still, you have shield pressure there. Like, shield pressure with Falco when the corner is broken, so you get the win there.
Pog.
Okay, the FD game. The most miserable game. Okay, so this is... Are you kidding? I just opened it. I hate this. I'm going to update it after this, and hopefully after the update it'll be fixed. I don't know why it does this.
That's fine.
Okay, so these lasers at the beginning here are kind of like the nairs that you did at the beginning of game 1. Where, like... Yes, they're not really hurting you, and, like, yes, they're not really a big deal, I guess, necessarily, but, like, you don't really want to waste, especially as Falco, like, basically, any action you do is, like, a potential mistake, and so you kind of want to do as few actions as possible, like, and obviously you're still going to be doing a lot of actions, like, when you play, but, like, doing, like, basically when you end up in a situation like this where you, like, land this laser, like, on his shield and then you sort of jump, like, I guess this was a mistake, but basically, like, you need to attempt to make the most use out of, like, every single laser you get out, try to, like, make use of that laser, because you land this laser on him and it hits, and so you have a potential to basically space, like, basically if this laser hits, you can kind of space, like, right here, and then either get ready for an approach or get ready to try to bait his, like, neutral air or something like that, but, like, you kind of just go away and laser again, and so these
I'm a big fan of not doing that, actually.
Yeah, okay, yeah, good. So basically it just doesn't get you anything, and it just gives potential for you to side B off or get power shielded randomly and then be in a bad spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's like basically he has done 0 damage and you're in the corner. And it's like, there was, considering how defensive he started off this match right here, to go from this situation to this situation,
it's a big deal,
without any actions being taken on his part, is like why you have to be very careful about, like, wasteful actions on the part of Falco.
Yeah, 100%.
One sec. Okay. So let's see what happens here. So you get these lasers, you end up in this situation where he shields. Okay, so once again, I like that you do this dash back because this beats him nairing out of shield. And then you come back in and you go for the aerial here. And so I think this is the reason why I don't think this is maybe the best option here is because he's already shielding.
Yeah.
So like a lot of times if he's in a situation where the dare can make him shield, that's good. But if he's already shielding, you've already basically like established that like he has to kind of get out of the way of whatever you're doing. And so this is like another situation where I think basically like if you're going to commit by coming in here, the laser is almost always better because it beats both hold shield and wave dash back.
Yeah.
Okay, you got the wave dash under. I think those are good. Great shield pressure there. And once again, this is just sort of like the same concept, except you're like sort of not, I don't want to say accidentally utilizing it, but like sort of by doing this pressure, this covers the option that right here he wave dashes back out of shield.
Yeah.
Or rolls. The laser here will cover that also, as well as the continued holding of shield. Whereas if you aerial there and he wave dashes away, it's not going to get you anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so here's more like wasteful lasers that you're just kind of like afraid of getting one tapped here. But like, if you land like this case, like you know that like, excuse me, no matter what Marth does, he can't fair you further than like here. So there's not really a reason to create this much space because it's like, so it's basically like you like gain a little bit of ground and then you give it up. And you gain a little bit of ground and you give it up. And so it's like these lasers just don't like, now you're back here. It's like, okay, so you were right here. One sec. So you were right here. You got this. So you go from this situation where he has to fair, optimally, I think Marth should fair here to avoid you aerialing immediately after the laser, but it's a mix-up. So you go from this situation, which seems really good, because you can force the landing mix-up, where he lands here, and you can have a laser coming out right at that time, and then get way better pressure out of this. But instead, you give up this space, and now you're like here, and then, okay, so you get it again, but then, like, I don't know, you're just kind of like you're not pressing it at all. And you're kind of going for these lasers, which have even less of a purpose than the previous lasers. Like that, like what's that going to do, you know?
Yeah. Pretty sure I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. Especially because I know I have the lead, so it's like, I don't want to lose my lead.
Mm-hmm.
But I know if I get hit once, I will.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like it's just the thing with Falco is that like basically to interact with him, you will have to take a risk eventually. Yeah. And so like by not taking the risks when you have the best position, you're just making everything harder for yourself.
Yeah, I gotta practice that enough to edit so I'm
So yeah, see, look, you have him in shield. This is that same exact mix-up again where you get the dash back, and he goes for this, so the laser approach would have beaten this, but then instead you give it up and you laser here, and it's like, now you have to get back in and laser, because now he can dash forward nair here, so now because he's in this spot, now you have to avoid this whole range, like up to like here, because he can dash nair you. So the closest you can now laser is here. So what do? Okay, so you do the laser at that exact range, which is really good. Like, you do this exact laser where if he nairs in or does some sort of dashing in aerial, you get it. So you get this range, and you successfully take this space. Now, this is kind of a really awkward range, though. And so what I think is probably the best to do here is to do a dash in. And, like, rather than a dash back, dash in, to do a dash in, dash back, because you can kind of, like, pretend, hey, I might come in, and then try to take a little space, and then, you know, now you're in a little bit closer. Like if you foxtrot in or something here, and then you like dash back, now you're in like the dash back, dash in mix up. Okay, so you maintain the space with another laser. Maybe not necessarily a bad decision, but doesn't really do. And then you're just sort of giving up the space again, and you're kind of like, okay, now I'm gonna create the space, and it's like let's say Marth took your bait of like this space, and he wave dashed in here. This laser would hit him at this exact same spacing as you just had a second ago. And so the thing is this isn't bad, but the longer you sit here lasering, the more chance, like, I know you're like afraid of getting like the one tap into losing, but like the longer you kind of wait around lasering, the higher chance something randomly goes wrong against you.
Yeah, 100%.
And now you're in the corner again. I don't like how to. I mean, this just happens. Like, obviously, you're not playing super great here, but like, this is not a situation you want to create.
Yeah, I had no idea why I did that.
Okay, so you get him off stage. Okay, that's fine. Once again, you're going into the corner for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, basically, like, it's kind of, you're gonna, you're gonna get caught with dumb stuff no matter what, so you might as well just go warrior mode on this stage. Like, I've never watched Mango take a game off Zane on FD and been like, wow, he's zoning Marth so well.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's possible to do that, but, like, maybe not the perfect way to play still. So, yeah, so here's these situations where, like, when Marth kind of goes up like this, I actually think that, like, these lasers actually serve to, like, make Marth feel more comfortable because he's not afraid of you jumping up and up airing him, or jumping up and shining him, or jumping up and down airing him, or back airing him, because you're like he's like right here, and like you're like still shooting these lasers, and it's like if he had just drifted in, like he's just fine. Like there's no threat to him here at any point. Like the lasers aren't an appropriate threat, so he's basically gets to threaten his fair to forward smash here. Like he could just land and fair forward smash and you die, and you're threatening lasers.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't, and you're threatening them in the corner, so it just doesn't create like a good risk reward for you.
Definitely.
So it's basically like, as frustrating as it is that Marth can zero death you here off one tap, he can do that anywhere. Yeah. And so his punish game doesn't actually get notably better. Like, maybe a tiny bit, just because he loses, like, you lose, like, the slide-off DI and stuff like that. But, like, for the most part, his punish game doesn't get really any worse. But one thing is that your neutral does get better here, because he can't use the platform to escape from the corner. Yeah. So when you have him in a situation like this, he has no way out of the corner ever, except going through you. He can't go over and around you. He can't do anything. So he is basically stuck here. And so by doing something like this and letting him do a full hop fair as a corner escape, you're basically giving up the only advantage that you actually get from FD.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And so there it is again of like, if you can just actually hold center here like very comfortably and not let him do dumb stuff like that.
Yeah.
And once again, like, I'm, like, basically, like, yeah. So you're here. You go for that. You go for the forward smash again. That was actually the first forward smash. He gets over it. Okay. So you're here. Greedy. No reason to do that. That, like, this is the only point where Marth is actually comfortable. Is, like, immediately coming off the ledge with a fair. And LSD in particular is, like, a super jump off ledge fair lover. Yeah. And so, like, if you just stood here and you just wait for him to come back on, like, it's a horrible spot for him. And so it's basically, like, from the ledge, all he can do is get back into his awful position of being cornered by you. Unless you give him, like, a reversal. Oh, that's so unfortunate. And you actually die off of being greedy on the ledge there. So yeah, he's doing this ledge camp thing. Notice that, look, here you just wait for him to get back on. And you could have done this exact same thing last stock. You just wait for him to get back on. And then... So, this laser is unnecessary because you landed the first one. Like, I should say that taking this space, because you went from, like, here to laser him, But this first laser already landed. There was nothing he could do. You can just do another laser in place after the first one because his only option is to instant fair right here, which won't hit you. And then you'll have a laser at this perfect range to be able to hit him. So look at, because you laser at this range instead, if you had lasered at this range instead, this would be an easy shield pressure or a run-up grab. But because you laser at this range and you gave up a little space unnecessarily, it's a little bit trickier. But you still, the important thing is, like, even if you messed up and you ended up like this, you're still fine because he's still shielding. His only option here is to nair out a shield which covers this range, so you still get to set up your laser right here. So, okay, so you go for the laser in place, he goes for this dumb full hop. The thing, I mean, this full hop's not that bad, but basically, like, he has to hard read when you're gonna hit him. So if, like, you go up and like, let's say you go up here and you try to back air him and he fairs you, you're not gonna, like, take a combo out of that, you know? So it's okay to, like, take those risks to, like, go after Marth, like, right here when you see him jump. Like, if you just jump up and nair him, or jump up and down air, or jump up and back air, or jump up air or shine, or whatever, like, he has to, like, this isn't reactable for him. He would have to jump up and swing. And if you don't commit and you're waiting here and he swings right here, you get a free punish. So I think the mix-up is actually, like, in your favor there. And especially just knowing LSD, because he likes to do that full hop out there, like, you can start, like, being more comfortable, like, reading it. And especially just versus LSD personally, he falls for baits out of that really easily. Like, out of his full hop stuff. Like, I get that 50-50 on him way more than 50% of the time. Okay, so yeah, and, like... Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, well, last time. So, basically, the thing I notice at this point is that... Oh, we're a little overtime, so I'll call it pretty soon. I just want to finish this last little thing.
Or...
So, oh, I think it was earlier than this, maybe? Oh, yeah, okay, it's right here. Is, like, the most important thing to do at this point is to focus on your game plan of, like, establishing the lasers at, like, the correct range and stuff, and it seems like you've kind of, like, given up on that, and you're just sort of doing aerials and trying to, like, fight him. And so it's kind of like, okay, like, this is when you need to, like, be really careful to, like, establish those same laser mix-ups that have basically gotten you this far. And they're pretty much absent at this point, and you're just kind of, like, throwing out full hop dares and reading him dashing in, like right there. Whereas, like, if those things were actually good, that's how you would have taken all your other stocks.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no lasers there, and there's no sense of, like, setting up, like, the favored mix-up on Marth landing or anything. And so it just sort of becomes, like, can you create enough chaos that Marth can't kill you for 2 stocks? And sometimes the answer is yes, but usually it's going to be no.
Yeah.
Okay, really good laser. That was good. Okay, so it's last stock. You get this. Yeah, you really got to watch out for those. And then, oh, no, okay. Whew. Oh. Okay, so you have him in the corner. You have... Okay, you get this. And yeah, so, like, let's say in this situation here, where, like, you get this, let's say you're ready for like, the normal stuff that he's gonna do, and he lands this, let's see, so you end up in this situation, and you're right here. You have to be prepared for him to dash in there, because that is his easiest option here. And so, but you're sort of just wave dashing in, kind of, it's like, okay, like, all these mix-ups are fine mix-ups, but, like, you're clearly kind of getting desperate here near the ending of it. And I think that, like, they become less of a mix-up when you're not using the standard laser game plan in between them. And yeah, look at that full hop dare. And a lot of times by playing like this, you can create enough chaos that, like, lesser players will die to it, but it's just not as solid, and you're going to end up losing random sets kind of, like, out of stuff like that. So
Yeah. That makes sense.
But okay, so that's about an hour. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, they're all in my head though.
All right.
I
Well,
just,
it was nice.
yeah, the main thing was the laser mix up stuff, like when he's landing,
Mm-hmm.
and making it more like giving him like baiting, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't really something I do versus Marth. I do it for some other characters, but not really versus Marth. So it's probably that's kind of the opposite of how I play or I've played versus Marth, or at least like what's it called? Like you can stop screen sharing, by the way. Or at least like in my subconscious or whatever. But it'll take a while for me to maybe one, but it'll probably take a minute for me to like apply it to my game and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
when I feel I get another set versus him or versus like another good Marth, that's like I feel like I did a lot of good stuff. I'll probably come back to you and then do
Okay.
this.
Yeah, sick. So it was fun talking, and I hope you have a good day, man.
Haha. All right,
All
peace
right,
out, man.
peace.